Let me start with a question for you. Have you ever caught yourself saying, "This is the last time I'll do this," but then find yourself doing the same thing the next day? It could be biting your nails, scrolling social media at night, or skipping workouts. Breaking bad habits can feel impossible. But here's the truth, it isn't. My name is Anya Victory. Welcome to Habit That Thrive podcast, a podcast for young adults and early career professionals who want to build habits and character that make a lasting difference. In this third episode, we're diving into the strategies that actually work for breaking bad habits. We will explore why bad habits are so hard to let go of, how to identify and disrupt the triggers behind them, and how to replace those bad habits with healthier ones that stick. By the end of this episode, you will have practical tools to start breaking those habits that no longer serve you and begin building a better version of yourself. Before we get started, don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss an episode, and follow us on Instagram at Habit That Thrive for more tips and strategies. Now let's get into it. First, let's talk about why bad habits are so sticky. It comes down to two things: triggers and reward. Bad habits usually satisfy an immediate need. For example, scrolling on your phone when you're stressed gives you the quick distraction, even if it makes you feel worse later. There's also the comfort of routine. The brain loves efficiency, and habits are shortcuts. Even if the habit isn't helpful, your brain sticks with it because it's familiar and easy. So here's a personal example. I used to grab snacks every time I felt bored in the afternoon. It wasn't hunger at first, it was a need to do something, but because I repeated it so often, it became automatic. So even when I'm hungry, I grab a snack. When I'm not, I still grab snacks. So it made it look like almost every afternoon I'm grabbing snacks, I'm doing that thing I don't really want to. I would even prefer to have a proper meal than just grabbing snacks. So how do we break this cycle? Step 1 is identifying your triggers. Triggers are what sets off a habit. They can be emotional, like stress or boredom, or situational, like certain time of the day or environment. Let's take a practical step. Write down when your bad habits happened, what you were doing right before, and how you felt. For me, I noticed I reached for snacks when I was working on a tough project. I'm out of ideas and my creativity just stopped flowing, and I needed a break. That was my trigger. Stress. Here's another example. If you find yourself checking your phone in bed, the trigger might be the proximity of your phone to your bedside table. Once you know the trigger, you can start to take control. Now that you have identified the trigger, it's time to disrupt the habit loop. We discussed about habit loop in the second episode, so you can take a break here, go listen to the second episode to really grasp what habit loop is all about. Then you can come back right here and continue. We've identified the trigger, right? It's time to disrupt that habit loop, like we were saying. The goal is to create a pause between the trigger and your response. For example, instead of grabbing snacks when I felt stressed, I started keeping a bottle of water nearby. Every time I felt the urge, I drank water instead. Over time, the urge to snack faded. So here's another example, another idea to say. If your bad habit is procrastination, you can set a timer for just 5 minutes to focus on work. So instead of saying, I'll do this tomorrow or I'll do that next tomorrow, how about you just give it 5 minutes? Do what you can do in 5 minutes and then take a break and then come back to it again and take a break. This will help you not really extending it unnecessarily. And then you could get into it and the flow to continue could just come in and see yourself doing that which you had thought you were going to do in 2 days or day or in some hours. Once you start, you also find it easier to keep going. The key is finding a healthier alternative that satisfies the same need. Breaking the bad habit is easier when you replace it with something better. Why? Because habit leaves a gap when removed. If you don't feel it then, the old habit creeps back. Let's say you're trying to stop mindless snacking, like me, right? Replace it with a habit like drinking water or drinking tea. Another one is if you're trying to quit social media at night, replace that time with reading or journaling. The important thing is to make the new habits enjoyable and easy. Remember, small changes add over time. Let's recap this. To break a bad habit, first, identify your triggers. Second, disrupt the habit loop by pausing and choosing a healthier alternative. Finally, replace the bad habit with a positive one that satisfies the same need. So here's my challenge for you this week. Choose one bad habit and apply all the strategies. Start small, be consistent, and give yourself grace along the way. If you found this episode helpful, make sure to subscribe to the podcast and share it with a friend who might need it too. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Habit That Thrive for daily tips and inspiration. Remember, breaking bad habits isn't about perfection, it's about progress. You've got this. See you next time on Habit That Thrive. Bye bye.